Imagine trying to survive in one of the harshest environments on Earth, a place where icy winds can slice through your clothing and the sun disappears for months at a time. For most of us, that sounds like an unbearable nightmare. But for one Arctic tribe, it's just life as usual. The resilience of the Inuit people has left scientists completely astonished. They've not only adapted to these brutal conditions, they've flourished in them, showcasing survival skills and physical traits that seem to defy what we thought humans were capable of. From incredible physiological traits to centuries-old techniques passed down through generations, their story reads like a manual on how to outlast nature's worst. In the Arctic, where even a brief exposure to the air can freeze skin, and daylight vanishes for long stretches, the Inuit continue to live off the land. Their food? It's not your typical diet. They consume large amounts of raw meat, whale blubber, seal, and fish, virtually no fruits or vegetables. From a modern health perspective, this kind of high-fat, low-fiber intake should be a recipe for disaster, leading to heart disease and sky-high cholesterol. Yet, researchers found something completely unexpected. The Inuit have some of the healthiest cardiovascular systems on the planet. The answer lies in their DNA. Scientists discovered a unique genetic adaptation that allows their bodies to metabolize fat in a way most humans can't, effectively protecting them from the typical dangers of such a diet. Now think about stepping outside on a winter day and immediately losing feeling in your fingers. The Inuit not only survive in these freezing conditions with minimal clothing, they thrive. Their metabolism works at an accelerated pace, generating internal heat far more efficiently than most people. Even their body shape plays a role. Shorter limbs and a more compact build help retain warmth. It's almost as if nature specifically engineered them for this climate, leaving scientists wondering just how deep these evolutionary changes go. Then there's their language, Inuktitut, which influences more than just communication. It shapes perception itself. While English speakers often rely on relative directions like left and right, the Inuit use absolute terms such as north and south. This means they can orient themselves with incredible precision, even in blizzards or complete darkness. An elder could be blindfolded, spun around, and still know which direction is north. Their connection to the land and environment is deeply embedded in their culture, and even their linguistic structure, making researchers question the limits of human spatial awareness and cognitive adaptation. But the story doesn't end with the Inuit. In another remote corner of the world, a different kind of mystery unfolded during World War II. In the Pacific Islands, some isolated communities experienced an encounter with technology so foreign, it seemed divine. These were the beginnings of the so-called cargo cults. Imagine living your entire life with no electricity, no modern tools, just the ocean and forest for survival. Then, out of nowhere, planes descend from the sky, dropping crates full of clothes, food, and weapons. To the Melanesian islanders, these weren't just machines, they were signs from the gods. When U.S. military bases were set up during the war, the locals were overwhelmed by what they saw. The troops received these mysterious supplies regularly, and the islanders, believing the cargo was a gift from the heavens, began mimicking everything the soldiers did. They constructed wooden versions of airstrips and airplanes, marched in formation, and even painted USA on their bodies, thinking these acts might summon the cargo once again. But after the war ended and the military left, the supplies stopped coming. For the islanders, it wasn't just an army that disappeared. It was as if divine beings had abandoned them. Some believed their gods had been stolen and taken away to another realm, and they continued their rituals in hopes the skies would open again. While modern academics use cargo cult to describe misguided imitation, for those who lived it, it was an undeniable and consuming reality. Far from the Pacific and deep within the dense forests of northeast India, the Naga tribes tell yet another captivating story. Spread across the border between India and Myanmar, these communities have long practiced a lifestyle centered on farming and hunting, but their reputation reaches far beyond that. Naga warriors are legendary, known in oral histories for feats like battling tigers with nothing but their bare hands. Their courage wasn't limited to combat either. They are also accomplished craftspeople, skilled in pottery, blacksmithing, and weaving. Despite their formidable warrior traditions, Naga society maintained a surprising balance between the roles of men and women. While men often held leadership positions and took part in battles, women were by no means sidelined. They managed households, raised children, and had defined responsibilities within the community. One fascinating tradition in Naga culture involves inheritance. When the eldest son marries, he inherits the family home, and the parents move out to build a new one for themselves. But what truly sets the Naga apart, and has horrified and fascinated outsiders for generations, is their history of headhunting. Up until the late 20th century, taking an enemy's head wasn't just a brutal act of war. It was a deeply symbolic tradition. It marked a young man's transition into adulthood and earned him social prestige. Warriors who had taken heads were often adorned with tattoos and ceremonial ornaments, proudly displaying their gruesome trophies. Though the practice has since been banned, the stories endure, echoing through the forests and mountains where they once lived and fought. Even further removed from the modern world, hidden high in the mountainous terrain of Papua New Guinea, the Yali tribe lives a life almost untouched by globalization. Isolated for decades, their way of life remained unknown until a daring British explorer ventured into their territory, risking everything to make contact. The Yali, like many other indigenous tribes, continue to fascinate researchers with how they've preserved their unique identity, beliefs, and practices, despite the modern world encroaching ever closer. On the other side of the globe, in the tropical islands of Central America, the Kuna people stand as fierce guardians of both their culture and their territory. At first glance, they might seem like a peaceful island community, known for their colorful molas, intricate textiles with vibrant patterns. But their relationship with the land and the spirit world runs deep. For the Kuna, spirituality isn't symbolic. It's a living force that demands attention. Animal sacrifices are still performed to maintain balance between the natural and spiritual realms, and each ritual carries deep meaning. They're not just cultural protectors, they are defenders of sovereignty. Throughout generations, the Kuna have pushed back hard against any outside interference. Their resistance to external pressure has been unwavering, and they continue to stand firm against anything that threatens their independence or their way of life. Whether it's their rituals, land rights, or ancestral knowledge, the Kuna have made one thing abundantly clear. They alone determine how their society functions. Each of these communities, the Inuit in the Arctic, the Melanesians of the cargo cults, the warrior Naga, the remote Yali, and the defiant Kuna, reveals a profound truth about the diversity of human resilience and the different ways people adapt, resist, and thrive in the face of challenge. Their stories may seem worlds apart, but they all share a powerful message. Humanity is capable of surviving, even flourishing, under the most extreme conditions.